CNBC TV18.
To the CNBC Conversation. I'm Steve Sedgwick. Over the next 30 minutes, we'll speak to Shashi Shanker, the Chairman and Managing Director of ONGC, India's largest oil and gas producer. When you think of oil or gas companies, the acronym ONGC may not spring to mind. But today, it's India's largest vertically integrated energy business. ONGC was born on 14th August 1956, marking the day India's quest for energy independence began. The hunt for oil was long and tedious, but eventually the geologists hit black gold. The first find was in Lunej in Gujarat state. Then, in the early 60s, a much larger field was discovered in Ankleshwar, part of what is now known as the Cambay Basin, but it barely made a dent in India's dependence on imported oil. The hunt for more headed offshore, and in the early 1970s, ONGC discovered the giant Bombay High field off India's west coast. Over the years, the company developed major refining capacity, a petrochemical division, and it's making major inroads into renewables, with solar and wind increasingly part of ONGC's energy mix. But this is still very much an oil business. The company operates 6 of the 7 main oil-producing basins across the country, and the exploration and production division domestically produces close to 1 million barrels of oil per day. But that's still not enough for India's insatiable need for oil and gas to support the country's explosive economic growth. So, ONGC continues to look overseas and now has a presence in 20 countries, including a 10% stake in Abu Dhabi's Lower Zakum field. But that doesn't answer India's desire for greater energy independence. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has set a target to reduce oil imports by 10% by 2022. A big challenge considering India is now the world's 3rd largest consumer of energy, with that demand only increasing. So how will India's largest state-controlled energy business face the dilemma of growing its oil and gas business to support the economy, with the demands of meeting climate goals and reducing imports? And what does the future look like for ONGC? Shashi, really nice to meet you. I intend to learn a lot about your company in this conversation and a lot about the energy industry in India as well. Tell me about where this company is going, because we stand here today with India looking to diversify energy sources as well, to live in a post-COP21 world as well. So where are the priorities for your company in building up the energy picture for India?
See, primarily we are national oil companies, so while we continue to focus on our exploration and production activity, at the same time we are looking at different projects. In fact, in a small way we are present in the renewable sector also. We have put up about 150 megawatt of wind power and a small capacity of solar as well. We have set up one gas-based power plant, that is 726 megawatt power plant in the eastern part of the country. Now going forward, our focus, as you might be knowing, that India is we are going to slowly move towards the gas-based economy.
Okay.
Today our energy basket is about 7%, and our target by 2030 we would like to go to 15%. And on that front, we have quite a few assets which is under development. And if you talk about my company, from the present level what we are producing, it's going to almost get doubled. Today we produce about 24 billion cubic meter of gas per annum. From this it's going to be 42 billion cubic meter by 2020. It's the next 4 years.
So in terms of the evolution of your company as well, and in like the whole industry as well, the oil and gas industry, and you've already explained that you are full stream as well, but the oil and gas industry is very keen to call itself the energy industry now, the energy company as well. You're fully paid up member of that club. You want to talk about yourselves as energy rather than just oil and gas?
I think so. In fact, there have been many projections by different agencies. We talk about BP Energy Statistics, IHS Market, IA, and all the projections, at least going in the up to 2040, the oil and gas is going to play a dominant role. Maybe the demand growth is slightly going to reduce, but then I strongly feel that oil and gas is going to play a very critical role as for the world energy basket.
That's very interesting. So whilst we have this movement about the transition in energy as well, we have people talking about the dominant role in India and beyond going forward about renewables. You're a very practical man. This is still about oil and gas.
No, I'll tell you. In fact, what is being projected, like if you talk about renewable in terms of percentage, today, be it India or even in the world energy basket, the percentage is small. So the growth, when you talk about, people talk about the growth taking place in excess of 15%. But in absolute number, if you see, there is a long way to go. I mean, when it reaches a level where that could be, in terms of percentage of the energy basket, it will have a substantial presence. But yes, that's the way. Futuristic, and for that matter, all the E&P companies, they are looking at this option very carefully. So is the case with ONGC.
Yeah, I mean, renewables, cleaner energy, it's the future, but the here and now and the short to medium term about investment in oil and gas. Do you have concerns that there is a lack of appetite amongst financiers, people who can underwrite bond issues, equity? There is a lack of appetite for oil and gas assets, which actually is just not practical in the current world.
No, this is one topic which I discussed in the ministerial session. So yes, internationally, if you talk about, yes, there had been concern when the oil prices had come down, people were trying to withdraw from the sector. So not enough investment had taken place. But India, if you talk about, and we had taken altogether a contrarian view on this, and when the oil prices were low, we kept investing at the same level, or our activity level had gone up.
Hang on, you kept investing when the prices went low?
Yeah, that's right.
That's quite rare. So how did you do that? Because there must be a lot of pressure to cut back on that investment.
This is something like a stock market. When the stock prices come down, people try to withdraw themselves, and when the stock prices tries to go up. So we do realize that there is a volatility in this segment, and so this price is not going to stay at this level where it is today. And if you are going to make any investment, typically any NP project for that matter, it takes 5, 6, 7 years to come on stream. So we do realize that, and this had been our strategy, not today, otherwise also, irrespective of the crude oil price movement.
And that's extraordinary, because there are plenty of willing sellers at the bottom price, and there are plenty of willing buyers when we get to $85 a barrel or $100 a barrel. It's amazing how the industry is pro-cyclical in terms of what it buys and sells, whereas you're trying to be counter-cyclical in terms of what you buy and sell.
Yeah, so and if you just tell you some of the examples, like we undertook a deep water development project. This is going to be a flagship project as far as the company is concerned. It is on the eastern coast. We committed an investment of $5 billion on a single project. I'll just give you one example. One of the deep water rigs which were operating, the same deep water rig, when the prices were high, it was commanding a day rate of $0.6 million per day, $600,000 per day. And the same rig we contracted at less than $120,000 a day. So at just 20% of the price.
Amazing.
And today the same rig has been deployed for developing this particular field.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And so most of the services what we have done, and normally this had been our strategy, we go in for a relatively long-term contract.
Yeah.
So the services which we contracted a year back, today they're paying a rich dividend.
It's interesting. You talk about field services and rigs and products as well. The last time we saw a big rally in oil price as well, we also saw the cost curve going up aggressively as well. Are you seeing that this time round as well? Are costs managing, whether it be individuals, whether it be about rigs, whether it be various capabilities, are the costs going up as much as they did previously, or actually are people managing to keep a lid on it?
I personally believe it as a company, and maybe others also. We have learned a lesson. In fact, the last downturn had been a pretty
Everybody's blighted by the last downturn.
Yeah. So it was a pretty long, almost 4 years cycle. So that was the time people did realize probably we need to be cost conscious, and wherever there was a possibility of cutting down costs. And I personally feel it probably will take a lesson. We all will take a lesson from this, and the prices cost probably is going to be kept within it.
You're a generation of chairmen and CEOs, aren't you, in charge of companies now that is blighted by that last downtick as well. Whether you're yourself or Bob Dudley or the leader of various NOCs, it's very near memory, isn't it, that big downtick as well? It was quite scary from an existential point of view, wasn't it?
Yes, but otherwise also in our case, our cost of operation is relatively it's on the lower side. Prior to this, now of course there's a lot of reform has taken place. I'm not very sure whether you know about it. Our realization was not at the international market price. So there is quite a bit of cross-sector subsidy was there. So our net realization that time also used to be in less than $50 a day. $50 a barrel. So this downturn, so that's the reason probably we have been able to maintain our capex.